It's May in East Tennessee and the weeds are shooting up in places I don't want them, so it's time to restock on some weed killer. However, there are a lot of options. I usually go with this version of Roundup, which lasts me a full season just for my yard, but it's a little bit on the expensive side. This year, I'm going to try a concentrate that can mix into a pump sprayer. I've got a few other yards that I mow, and while I don't get paid to kill their weeds, it will reduce the amount of time that I spend on weed eating. So this bottle here that says you can mix 5 gallons of weed killer for $15 seems like a good fit. In this video, I'll show you how to use it, if it works, my opinion, and a must-know hack that you can cheaply start doing immediately that'll supercharge your weed killing process. Stick around to find out the hack. Now that we have our weapons of choice, let's take a quick look at what we have. We have the HDX pump sprayer and a bottle with a concentrated Roundup. The instructions for the Roundup are located on the back of the bottle. You can pause here if you want to check those out, but basically it explains the types of weeds it kills and how to mix it. The instructions say to mix 3 ounces per gallon of water, or for hard to kill weeds, mix 6 ounces per gallon. The sprayer comes with the wand, a pump handle, and the 1 gallon container. When mixing your solution, it's easier and probably safer to add the water first. This allows you to get exactly 1 gallon of water in the container before adding the Roundup. And if you add the Roundup first, you risk splashing it all over the place if your water source is a gusher like mine. Now it's time to add the good stuff. It does have the appearance of dirty creek water, kinda nasty, but you don't really want your weed killer looking like Snuggles fabric softener. You can tell this stuff is going to kill weeds on sight. I eyeballed 3 ounces here before I realized the cap is a measuring cup and has levels for 1, 2, and 3 ounces. But after watching this video, I can tell I was dead on. Now let's get the sprayer assembled. That's an easy task. Just screw in the pump assembly, slide the flow control tube into the tank, screw it on, and then screw on the wand extension piece, and we're ready to go. We'll start out testing 3 ounces of Roundup per 1 gallon of water on these areas of my yard. This here is along my driveway. This is the large tulip poplar in my front yard. This is the smaller tulip poplar in my front yard. This is the Yoshino in my front yard. This is the flower bed on the left side of my house, and let's go ahead and start applying the Roundup so we can see how it works. I'll speed it up for you here so you don't have to watch 30 minutes of Roundup application, but I did want to give you an idea of how heavy I went with the solution. And I do apologize for the sandals. That's probably not the required PPE for this activity, but I did wear safety glasses to protect my eyes. As I started putting this stuff down, I kept finding additional places I wanted to treat, so it's some bonus footage for you. When I started my channel back in early 2020, I was in the tree planting phase of my life, so a lot of these trees and bushes you see have multiple dedicated videos on them. Kind of funny, I know, but heck, I even named all my tulip poplars. The editing and voiceovers aren't great on those, but you may find them interesting if you get extremely bored. One of the things I do enjoy about the concentrate mix and a gallon of water is you can really douse the weeds. When you're working from a more costly, non-concentrated jug, you have to be more sparing with your coverage. That application was put down during the day around 2 p.m. Now it's about 7 p.m. and I was curious if the weeds would show any signs of dying off. The extended control solution I showed earlier in the video would typically have the weeds turning brown same day. But as you can tell from these quick shots, the concentrated solution doesn't work as fast. I'll give it a week and show you how those results look next. A week has gone by in these shots, and as you can tell, it's done its job. There are a few green spots that I will need to touch up. Those may even be new growth because we've had a lot of rain this week. I used about 3/4 of a gallon on the areas you saw me treat, and that's most of the areas of my yard that I usually round up. So I would guess that a full gallon would take care of my yard and any needed touch-ups. Knowing that, this concentrate that can mix up to 5 gallons should last me all year if I was only doing my yard. And here's where you can see more green than some of the other locations. I believe it's a mix of new growth and stubborn crabgrass, so that area will definitely need a second coat. A few areas here are kind of the same situation. But you can tell this is definitely dead. He's got a bird. I used Roundup on the left side of this fence, but not the right, just so I could see the difference. And obviously, the Roundup has done its job here. I'm starting to accumulate a lot of gallon sprayers with chemicals in it, so let's get this one labeled so we don't get it confused. Now for the hack that I mentioned in the beginning of the video. We'll mix up a gallon just like normal. Oh, and here are those measurements in the lid. It has a line for 1 ounce, 2 ounces, and 3 ounces. Let's go ahead and put 3 in here and get to the secret ingredient. And bam, here it is, Common Dawn dish soap. I picked this up at my local Dollar General for about $1. In this application, the soap will act as a surfactant. What is a surfactant and why is it important? Well, surfactants help Roundup stick onto the weeds instead of rolling off the weed's waxy coating. The surfactant's role is to reduce the surface tension of water. Basically, it makes the solution more sticky and allows the Roundup more time to do its thing. An added benefit is Dawn dish soap is a degreaser. Degreasers will break down the waxy coating on weeds, which is its first line of defense against threats such as Roundup. In summary, you are supercharging your weed killing ability. Here, I'm applying the supercharged weed killer, then immediately showing you the results from a week later. This is one of my neighbor's yards, and they have a few spots I hate weed eating. This spot is impossible to get without eating up some of my black diamond string, but there is some stubborn weeds in here that'll require a second application. With some of these bigger leafed weeds, I can see the Dawn bubbling up and sticking nicely. This is the main area I despise weed eating. It's a damaged spot in their asphalt driveway that has more grass and weeds than asphalt. Anytime I weed eat this, chunks of asphalt are shot around like missiles, hitting my legs, face, cars, and the house. This is one reason I don't mind buying my own Roundup and taking care of some of their areas free of charge. Overall, I think it did a nice job. Everything is wilting and no new growth. As thick as it was, it'll likely take a second application. This is the flower bed, which is a hot mess. They've asked me a few times if I'd be interested in fixing this up for them for some money, but it's more than I'm willing to take on. I hate flower beds, as you can tell by mine, which is as minimal as you get. The Roundup surfactant mix did decent, but it'll likely take a second coat also. And same here, everything looks to be dying off. I was hoping for a more obvious dead like brown and crusty, but as long as it stops the growth and it dies slowly, that's just as good. Now for a couple long runs. This is where my yard meets the road, and yep, more asphalt missiles. I'll apply a quick application to both mine and my neighbor's yard. My apologies for speeding up the video to 4x while also moving the camera. I know a lot of folks hate watching sped up videos as it makes them dizzy. I'm the same way, so I'll keep it short and sweet. And this run turned out really nice. My neighbor's street isn't as damaged as mine, but we'll go ahead and take care of it too. And theirs ended up turning out a little bit better than mine. And here's the last place we'll apply Roundup. We'll try some jump cuts here in the editing. Let me know if that's better than speeding up the video. And this last one here may be the best before and after. This stuff is dead and gone. And in summary, I am happy with the concentrated Roundup. While it doesn't obliterate the weeds like the non-concentrated version I'm used to, the amount of coverage and cost is a no-brainer. When you can mix 5 times more, you can afford to hit a few stubborn spots twice. Adding Dawn dish soap as a surfactant is a nice cheap addition. On certain types of weeds, you can really tell that it supercharges the process. And recently I purchased a professional surfactant from Amazon, the Southern Ag Surfactant for herbicides. I'll try it out in a future video and give my thoughts on how it compares to the cheap dish soap hack. Be sure to subscribe to see that video as soon as it's posted.